the title.
We've got some good young combinations here. I think the dominant double at the moment are the New Zealanders, Eva Swindles, who are really, really powerful and have been superb through this regatta. And look at them going off really very, very powerfully in that first burst in the first 100 metres. But they're young, they're in their early 20s, they're new on the scene really in the last couple of years. The British, Houghton and Flood, they're also pretty young. And the Italians, who are the under-23 gold medalists from a couple of months ago, they also are new on the scene. Nice to see Italy getting into sculling finals in women's rowing. That hasn't happened before. But here are the British, very powerful, very nice scullers.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning, as we see the British pair who won the World Cup this year through consistency, that the Italians actually topped the medal table in the Junior World Championships earlier this season in Lithuania. Obviously, their eye on next year's World Championships, which they'll be hosting in Milan.
A lot of experience there in the Russian double there with Irina Fedotova, who's sitting in the stroke seat. But it's the New Zealanders who take the early lead, and who could say that anybody's going to catch them, because they really have dominated this regatta. Look how long they are, very powerful. They sit low in the boat, drive the legs, but they pick it up right at the beginning of the stroke. There's nothing wasted, nothing missed.
Interesting to get Katrin Boron's reaction to this. She's here watching this, starting a family this year, but she'll be back. That's the determination next year for the World Championships, which are also the World Qualifiers. And they'll be taking close note, the German squad, of the performance of these two. Because, interestingly, Dick Tonks this year, Dan, he's asked the two women here to concentrate on the double. Last year, remember, they had a quad as well, in which they also got a silver medal.
Well, they're doing very well here. I mean, they sit, as I say, they sit low. They actually take the water from quite a height. But in this difficult water, that's probably an advantage, because they don't want to get anything caught in this poppy water. But look how Italy is going. That's very, very effective sculling, and they are very much in the hunt.
Yes. Gabriella Bacelli chatting away there to Elisabetta Sancassini, whose brother's also involved in the regatta. And here are the two Germans. This is quite a task for them, Dan.
Well, they're a new double. They're a new double. Part of that very, very good German training group, but they really can't match the New Zealanders and the British double on the far side there, trying to get into the hunt here. Bad start, didn't really get away, and really having to fight to get into this race.
Yes, we've got high hopes, I think, of the British at least getting a medal. I think it would be a disappointment if they couldn't just reach the podium here, Dan.
Well, World Cup winners, they should be there. They've had a very good season, really, I think they've been a bit intimidated by how fast the New Zealanders are, and it's slightly knocked their confidence a bit.
So halfway, and New Zealand with clear water, but the silver and bronze medals up for grabs. The British at the moment trailing at the halfway. They've got a lot of work to do if they want to put themselves back in this race, Dan.
Well, their rating, just coming through there, they were at 32. They were really not as competitive and as aggressive as these two here, particularly, who are just so tough. Just look how they go for it. They just treat this whole race as a sprint, and it's given them now a length and a half on the field. But Italy are taking up the hunt. Italy are in second place and moving very, very sweetly there in the middle of the field.
I was going to say, Dan, I just got the splits through, and in fact, during that second quarter, they were actually 0.02 of a second quicker than the New Zealanders, and they put themselves into second and silver medal place at this particular moment, with Russia now down into the bronze medal position, and the British just beginning to make some movement now, Dan.
Yes, but they've left an awful lot to do. They're still within a chance of a medal there, but I'm very impressed with the way that Italy has been moving. They scull very nicely. They don't stop the boat at all, but the aggression of the New Zealanders, these sisters here who just drive the strokes through, they're not worried about the rough water here. They just make sure that the blades are in where they reach and that they power it through. Legs working very, very effectively. But that's very nice sculling there from Italy. High rating stuff here, 36 strokes a minute.
19 and 20 years of age, respectively. And Dan, you were saying that you couldn't remember an Italian double scull in the final.
I don't think so. I mean, Italian women's rowing has not really been at the forefront, but certainly it's making an impression now with a single sculler in the final in the women's single sculls, and here now in the double and in medal position. Great stuff.
Well, the British moving up now into fourth place. That was a slightly better 500, but still well over 5 seconds down on the New Zealanders. They've got no hope of catching them, but they've got to find a couple of seconds to be on terms with the Russians and the Italians.
Well, Russia's now really pushing hard. Russia's come up onto the Italian double, and they're pushing hard, but it's this pair. Look at this double here. They are so aggressive. They're up at 38 strokes a minute. They are not leaving anything to chance. They're just making sure that every stroke counts. They're a length and a half up. Italy now trying to hold off Russia. Russia beginning to move hard on them. The Italians using that experience that they had from the under-23 World Championships 2 months ago. But can they hold off Russia? Russia coming with every stroke, and they've only got 250 metres to go.
Yes, the Russians with a lot more race experience, particularly Fedorova now beginning to work hard with Merck, nice and smoothly. Look at the Russian bow there, it's coming up on the Italians, but the Italians still holding on to third place, and still Frances Houghton, who was 22 years of age last Thursday, trying to get there with her partner Debbie Flood, but she's not going to do it. It's Russia who have now moved into silver medal position.
Russia went up to 42 strokes a minute to get by. The Italians at 36. They made their big push in the middle there. But look, the New Zealanders at 42. They're making absolutely sure of this. Maybe looking for a world best time, but they are well clear, and Russia's got through Italy.
And New Zealand indeed do take it in a new world best time. Russia silver, and that's not Great Britain, that is Italy, who are in fact in bronze medal position. Great Britain finished fourth ahead of Germany and France. Well, pillar to post stuff for Georgina and Caroline, and it's great to see a crew from New Zealand performing in the way that they do, and they have now recaptured for New Zealand the title that Philippa Baker and Brenda Lawson last won back in 1993 and again in 1994.
I think it was a great race also from the Italians there, just pipped by Russia by the experience of Fedorova in the stroke seat there, but Great Britain disappointing back in fourth.